Good evening. Welcome to Star Talk. I'm Ken Eccles, and we're happy to have you with us on the program tonight. It's not going to snow here. Um, I know people have been talking about that, but it's not going to snow here. It's snowing in Florida. I saw some live feed on YouTube today of a snow-covered highway in Pensacola, Florida, of all places. Also, there's snow at the beach. They're expecting snow at the beach. The parts of the beach who don't have snow yet are expecting snow on the beach, but not here. Very weird situation. Very weird. But there it is. We have a phone line open for you, by the way. The number is on your screen. You can give us a call at that phone number, or you can email us. The email address ought to be, and almost certainly is up there, but just in case it's not, it's KECHOLS47 at gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from you either by phone or by email, whichever one works best for you. And an email has just chimed in over here. Of course, because it chimes in doesn't mean I can get directly to it. Uh, Here it is. It says, Ken, can you talk about again the, well, hold on. Let's see who's on the phone, and I'll get back to this one. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Mr. Ken.
Good evening.
I have spoke to Charles about racing tickets, sir.
You have spoken to Charles about racing. First, before we talk about that, I want everybody to see, and this is significant, there are people in the world who can speak directly to Charles Rourke, and there are people who cannot. I cannot, but Charles from Danville can. So, what what was the nature of your conversation?
About racing tickets for
Right.
next racing season.
And what did he say?
Yes,
He said yes to racing tickets.
yes.
All right.
On your show, there are going to be racing tickets to give away.
Good. I'm glad to hear that because I think we had a lot of fun with those last year, and we will again. Did he happen to say anything about additional rewards, such as maybe movie tickets for people who say don't win the racing tickets but do well?
I'll have to talk to him tomorrow and let you know next week.
Now, you're telling me that you are able to talk to Charles Rourke 2 days in a row? You talk to him today and you can talk to him again tomorrow? Is that right?
I could talk. I could talk to him all the way till Thursday.
Until Thursday. What do you
Yeah.
do? You have a window open until Thursday?
Yes, because I called the show.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's how you do it. You call his show.
Yeah.
Maybe I should try. They probably hang up on me. I doubt I could talk to him like that.
Well, I'll ask him about movie tickets too, because I'm hoping he will for the Star News viewers.
Oh, I think that'd be a very, very fine thing.
And I want to send a condolences out to Mr. Mark Mayadan on loss of a family member, please.
Well, his grandfather passed away, and thank you. I'm sure he'll appreciate your mentioning that.
Yes. I want to say hello to Hillbilly and to all the Star viewers who know me. The one that met me a while back. Say hello to him and everybody. And Mr. Ken, when you're ready to come collect that chicken at 8-piece dinner, let me know.
I have not forgotten. That's money in the bank. That's chicken in the bank for me. I will get it.
That is a guarantee from me, Charles Eason from Danville.
Well, guarantees don't get any more significant than that.
Oh, when it comes to me, it's a guaranteed deal.
All right. Now, and at some point, somebody's going to call to remind you about the Masked Singer. Do you need to be reminded?
Yeah, tell Mark to keep that on his list of reminding me
Okay.
and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, so he can remind me so I don't forget. I'll remind everybody too.
All right. If we all remind each other, we'll be in good shape.
Oh yeah, we'll be in great shape if we keep each other in the loop.
Absolutely. We'll do it.
Well, I just want to say everybody have a good week. We'll see you next week, sir. And I want to say hello to Mr. Draper from the Eason family. Y'all have a good evening, sir.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling. Appreciate your call. Phone line is open now. If you'd like to give us a call, you can email kechols47@gmail.com. This email over here, I've figured out what they're talking about now. Wondering about the $2,000 annual cap on prescription drugs for Medicare recipients, if you're on Medicare and if you have a Medicare prescription drug plan. Emailer was trying to wants to get their memory refreshed on that, and I guess I've sort of just did. If you have a Medicare Part D plan as of this year, you have a cap of $2,000. $2,000 is as much as you will have to spend out of your pocket in a year for medications that are covered by your Part D plan. They're not covered by your Part D plan, then this doesn't apply. But for covered medications, you will not have to spend more than $2,000 out of pocket this year for your Medicare Part D covered prescription. And I'll remind you again, that is part of the Inflation Reduction Act. And of course, like all bills passed in Congress, none of them are guaranteed to be around forever. And there are folks in Congress who have said if they have the opportunity, they will repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. And if that happened, then the $2,000 cap would go away. But it hasn't happened yet. And who knows what will happen and what won't happen. As of right now, the cap is in place. Here is a link from a very wise man who wants me to watch something on YouTube. Can't do it now, but I will do it later. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
How you doing tonight, Ken?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. My condolences goes out to Mark Medan's grandfather. I'm sorry to hear that, and he's in my prayers, man.
Well, thank you. I know he'll appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Also, I want to thank Mr. ETJ for the correction last night on Truax, because I was under the understanding that he was going to have a full-time ride, but it makes sense what he told us. So,
okay. Better watch him at Daytona. It'll be your only chance to see him.
Yeah, he might be a good pick.
He might be indeed. He might be indeed. Yep. I don't think he's forgotten how to drive since last year.
Oh, no, he's a really good driver, I think. I guess you heard about those pardons for the hostages that Trump pardoned yesterday.
Yeah, I heard that. And as I said last night, I'm not a big fan of presidential pardons, and I'm still not a big fan of presidential pardons, be it Biden or Trump.
I don't either, Ken. If nobody's supposed to be above the law, how can a president of any party do what they're doing? Either side. But I kind of got a dog in this fight with this January 6th rioters, is what I call them. Because I know you're familiar with the situation I went through in Germany when I got caught up in a riot and nearly beat slammed to death.
Yeah.
And never seen any compensation for it, probably never will, but it is what it is. But how can the Republican Party claim it's for the police officers and then turn around and do something like those pardons? I mean, how is that possible?
Well, you can do that if you're a politician. I mean, you can. We don't seem to punish politicians for that sort of thing.
We certainly don't, Ken, but I think we should. I think we should just become a little more woke on situations as such, and try to prevent from having those same politicians back in office again. I just don't understand it.
Well, I can't explain it. I don't know why we didn't have term limits a long time ago. I don't know why we don't do a lot of things to stop the same politicians from serving year after year and decade after decade and giving them lifetime employment as elected officials. Why don't we stop that? I don't know.
Well, now, if you remember back in Trump's first presidency, you know, the emoluments clause might as well not existed in that administration either, you know, because he hired his son-in-law and pretty much his daughter. And look at all the stuff he's got going on the side now with watches, guitars, Bibles, you name it. And do you think he will be made to stop doing that stuff while he's president this time?
No, he won't. I don't know that those particular things. I don't know that the emoluments clause applies to those particular things. In fact, I doubt if you tried to apply it in court, you probably wouldn't have much success with the emoluments clause. I mean, it makes people wonder, but I don't think, for example, selling the sneakers and that sort of thing, don't think that would fall under it.
Well, okay. How about taking money from foreign countries? I mean, for campaigns. I mean, I
Well,
don't
that's
think
illegal. I
well,
mean,
it's supposed.
that's absolutely illegal.
Yeah. Well, when you give Jarrett $2 billion, you know, after Trump comes out of office last time, and I heard he was given another $1.25 billion by Dubai or whomever here lately, also, and. You know, I mean, can't people see through that, or are we really that stupid?
Well, again, if we're talking about the legalities of it, yeah, Jared Kushner scored big with Saudi Arabia, and he has since scored big again with Saudi Arabia. But that is not money that's going to a political campaign because Jared Kushner is no longer part of the campaign. So again, we're just talking legality here. That's not a campaign contribution. So there's no legal problem with that.
Yeah, I know. But you can pardon Jared's father and make him an ambassador to France too. But I guess that's legal too, right?
Yeah, it is. It is legal.
I mean, how messed up can the system be, Ken? Well, I guess if you can have a president that's convicted of 34 felonies, I guess anything pretty much goes through now, you know?
Well, there are laws that cover certain things, and then there are certain things that are not prohibited by law. A lot of the things that are not prohibited by law that politicians do, and not just Donald Trump, but all politicians do, look suspicious and cause you to wonder and almost lead you to conclude that they're taking money for the things that they're doing, but they're not illegal. Remember, it is the politicians who make the rules. And the politicians give themselves plenty of avenues to collect money in exchange for influence without violating the law. They write the law, and they're good at doing that.
Oh, I totally understand all that, Ken, but you know, to me, I just don't think it should be legal. Of course, I know the Constitution says one thing, and what I think about a lot of things is 180 degrees. But you know, you had Pam Bondi saying there that during her hearing here the other day, and a couple of other people, that if the rioters on January 6th were charged with a real bad crime, violent crime, that she didn't think that they should be pardoned. And I want to see how Tom Tillis is going to wiggle his way out of what he said about that, too, because, you know, he's going to be eating some crow now, too, it looks like.
Well, Tom Tillis said today that he does not agree with those pardons.
Yeah, well, a lot of them might not agree, Ken, but when it comes to voting for something against Trump for any reason at all, just like, you know, in the past, they're not going to have the guts nor the spine to do it. So I guess, and even Supreme Court, when it comes down to this birthright citizenship thing, people say, "Oh, the Supreme Court won't let that pass." Well, after the move that they made back in June, July, don't you think they would let that go too?
I don't know. It's they're going to have a chance because there have been 18 states have sued over that today, and that will certainly end up at the Supreme Court at some point. So we'll see.
Yeah, as of tonight, Ken, it's 22. So.
Oh, now it's 22 states. Well, 18 or 22. It'll get to the Supreme Court, I'm sure.
I'm just wondering if it'll get there in the next 4 years. All right, Ken. Thanks for taking my call, man. I really enjoy your show.
Well, thanks for calling. Good to hear from you. The birthright citizenship thing, I think, will get to the Supreme Court probably in less than the next 4 years, because it's surely going to get there, and then we'll know what the Supreme Court thinks of that one. Steve Miller says, "What is that about Martin Truex Jr.? I thought he retired." Well, you weren't watching last night. He did retire, but he's going to drive the Daytona 500. Truex is. That'll be his only race of the year. Only one that we know of. The Daytona 500, a one-off thing. So he'll be there. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good evening to you, Ken.
Good evening.
Sir, I think I owe you an apology.
Why?
Well, I think you asked me a question last night, and I think I, at best, gave you what I consider to be a disrespectful answer.
What was that?
Well, you asked me we were talking about totalitarianism.
Yeah.
And you asked me why I considered that. And I gave you a rather flip answer. So I'd like to instead give you the answer to your question.
Okay.
But I want to do it in a way that does not cast any editorial comment.
Okay. I'll be listening.
All right. Well, recalling what I learned in government class way back in the 60s, it seems to me there are three criteria for establishing a totalitarian regime. Mm-hmm. Or identifying a totalitarian regime. The first of which, and I kind of jotted down what I remembered, and correct me please at the end of this if I'm wrong.
Okay.
The first is that it prohibits oppositional political parties.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. The second I think is more pertinent at this point. It disregards and outlaws political claims from opposition groups and individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And third is that it controls the public and private sphere of activities.
Okay.
Now that is the criteria that I was taught that identifies a totalitarian regime. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, no, I think all those would be characteristics of a totalitarian regime. But do you not think that we have enough legal and social mechanisms in our country right now to prevent that from happening?
No, sir. I say loudly and profoundly, and you have to understand, you're talking to the man who first brought up ETJs with you.
Right.
And who has argued till the cows come home that the Supreme Court has already proven through their actions and written statements that the Constitution in the United States is not worth the parchment it's printed on.
How have they proven that?
I refer you again to Taft, to Holt Civic Club versus Tuscaloosa, where the findings were, and I quote, and Judge Rehnquist wrote this. Wagner was the Chief Justice, but William Rehnquist, sorry, I get cranked up, wrote the findings. And he said, and I quote, "While the arguments are concrete, clear, and concise, we find that you fall farther rather than nearer. So tough."
Okay. You know, I don't know the particulars of that case, so I don't quite know how to interpret that statement.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. It's real easy to find it out. Holt, Hoyt, Holt Civic Club versus Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
And if you go, you can go there and read the case and read the decision.
All right. I'll do that. I'm very interested in doing that. But to say that one statement in that one case neutralizes the Constitution, I don't quite see how that can happen. Maybe after I read it, I will follow your argument more clearly.
I suggest you please go ahead and read it, and then come back and tell me that I'm way off base again. Because I'll be honest, I have pursued this all the way to Capitol Hill. I have had attorneys literally from Raleigh, from Senator Berger's office, tell me, "Yeah, but you know what? Tough."
Now, is this
Yes.
is this related to extraterritorial jurisdiction? Is that what this is about?
That is exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is.
Okay.
And it wound up through these channels going to the Supreme Court. And they literally said, "Yeah, it's unconstitutional, but it's farther rather than nearer, so tough for you." So don't tell me that the Constitution protects me as a citizen from anything anymore, because that precedent has already been set by the Supreme Court that it does not.
All right. Well, that's a significant step, to say the least. I will be very interested. I will read that. I'm especially interested in reading. I guess Rehnquist wrote the opinion on that. So yeah, I will look that up. I really will.
Please do. And again, I apologize for being disrespectful to you last night when you asked me the question.
Well,
I should have gone ahead and answered it, but therein lies the rubble. Now, for what it's worth, we'll change the direction.
Okay.
I have a family member in Jacksonville, Florida, that I sent them a text this afternoon asking them if they needed me to send them a snow shovel. That I bet they didn't have one.
Well, did you get a reply?
Yeah, they said LOL.
Well, it's about time they got a taste, isn't it?
I don't know about you, but I have actually watched the Weather Channel a bit today and kind of chuckled a little bit, going, "Yeah, 4 inches of snow in New Orleans. You all don't know what to do with that."
Well, we barely know what to do with it ourselves, let alone New Orleans. They must just be walking around in a daze.
Indeed. Well, thank you, Ken, for allowing me to climb back up on my soapbox. I apologize to your viewers, and have a good evening.
Thank you for calling. Good to hear from you. Line is open at that phone number up there, and you can also email us at kechOLS47@gmail.com. This emailer says, wait a minute, something happening over there. Let's fix that. Emailer says, "Ken, I agree with you on the pardons, and I'm not a fan of them as well. Biden pardoning his entire family, to me, makes it look like they are guilty. Clinton pardoned his brother, which makes him look crooked. Trump pardoned Kushner, makes him look illegal. But those are not as bad as Biden pardoning murderers. That is as bad as it gets. And I don't care what party a president belongs to, but how can anyone be happy about that? Not to make this political, but did global warming cause Bourbon Street to have a blizzard today? And this afternoon in High Point, the roads got rather white quickly. but it all disappeared just past the airport, heading back into Rockingham County. I'll get back to that in a second. Hi, caller, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Ken, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, thank you. The gentleman that called a while ago about the word, what was it?
Extraterritorial jurisdiction?
No, totalitarian.
Totalitarianism was the word.
Yeah, well, I walked into the kitchen and the TV was on. It threw me off. Well, do you know, I'm going to be honest with you, most bikers don't even know this. They know the word abate, A-B-A-T-E. Do you know what it means?
Abate, it means to lessen, to become weaker.
No, abate, A-B-A-T-E.
Right. What does it mean to you?
Well, in biker terms, it means American Brotherhood against totalitarian enactments.
Oh, it's an acronym. Okay, I was thinking of the word. It's an acronym. All right, now I understand.
Yes. And most bikers don't even know that anymore these days. And if you didn't grow up riding bikes in the early 80s, you didn't know. Most people don't know that.
Okay.
And but that's what it stands for, American Brotherhood against totalitarian enactments, which is exactly what the gentleman explained. Takeover, government takeovers, things like that. A totalitarian enactment. That's what all bikers are supposed to live by, because they all know that word, but 9 out of 10 these days don't know what that word means.
What do you conclude?
Last person I saw wrote a definition of it down on Facebook. They put American bikers aimed toward education.
All right. Well, that'd be a good thing too. But why do you figure that bikers used to know and then they don't know anymore?
Because I've asked them. They have a code. Bikers have a code they live by.
Sure.
They cannot tell you what that code is, because they don't know.
Well, it's hard to live by it if you don't know what it is.
I got in an argument with the president of the Scorpions. And one guy come back on there saying he don't respect the biker code, does he? Referring to me. And I asked him, I wrote back, I said, just what is a biker code? And they couldn't tell me. And he was the president of the club, so...
Okay, so that's something apparently that was important to bikers in your day, but is not that important anymore. How come?
It probably is. I've just been out of that so long, I don't really have a clue. But people over time have made those letters become what sounded good to them.
Well, okay.
And but is what it is, it's no big thing. I just thought I'd mention that about totalitarianism.
Well, and I think maybe bikers ought to be reminded of that. Well,
they should be. Yeah, they should be, because it's a way of life they're supposed to live by. It's a code.
Right. We should all live by that. I mean, that's exactly what the country's all about, really. Why it was founded.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yep. All right, Ken. You have a good night. Take care.
Well, thanks
have a good
for calling.
Weekend.
Good to hear from you. And here's somebody else. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Ken, this is Joe on 3rd Avenue.
Yes.
I just like to say that y'all just wait. Trump is going to cut SSI, Social Security, and Medicaid and Medicare, and that's what's going to happen. And that's when his followers is going to go after him. And let me say this. I got something on top of my head that Trump ain't got, and that's real hair. He got that artificial hair. In other words, he's truly a baldy. And thanks for taking my call, sir.
Well, thank you, Jerry. Always good to hear from you. Phone line is open up there on your screen. The email address is KECHOLS47 @gmail.com. Whoa, I wish I hadn't done that. Dropped my phone. It still works, and I will still be able to find and read this email that just arrived, and here is what it says. Well, Ken, you keep talking about what is legal and not legal, but politicians get bribed all the time, but they get bribed in ways that is legal bribery. How can we make them stop that? Well, that's a good question. Well, we'll get back to that in a second. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Ken.
Yeah.
Just a few notes on day one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. The president is investing $500 billion in AI. One tech guy said that they will be able to customize a personal vaccine that rid people of cancer in the early stage in only a short time. Now, how do you Reagan RFK Jr. feels about that?
Well, let me first say that I think the government investment in that is $100 billion, and the rest of the $500 billion they say is going to be raised from private sources. But it all adds up to $500 billion. Any way you
Right.
do that. So that's
Yes.
just bookkeeping there. As far as
Yeah.
the vaccine, I hope they can, in a short time, develop a personal vaccine for every person that will prevent them from getting cancer. I hope for that. What would RFK think of that? Probably not much, because he doesn't like vaccines.
That's right. I see a conflict looming there when you have different sides going at it like that. But now, in another event, the president sided with the Proud Boys instead of law enforcement. And contrary to what you heard, wasn't it 4 law enforcement officers died shortly after the assault on the Capitol?
Well, one died shortly after the assault. One committed suicide. 2 others died sometime after the assault, and I'm not entirely clear on their circumstances. But 4 officers who were there died within the year after it happened.
Within a year. Right. They were previously then, before that, health-wise, without major health issues. But after that, and speaking of pardoning people, those people, even some Republicans that said the trauma, the event that happened that day with the flag poles with the spears on the end, that contributed to that. Now, J.D. Vance has said previously on Fox that he opposed a pardon for any people on that day that had acted violently, acts on January the 6th, like the beating of the officer and attacking the Capitol, pooping inside the Capitol on people's desks and all like that. He had previously said he opposed pardons for those people.
He did.
And Lindsey Graham said that attempting to overthrow the election was just a bridge too far. You remember that?
Yes, he did say that.
Yeah. And so now to pardon those violent criminals like that. They said, like the previous caller said, he was against pardoning murderers, and he can include our latest president in that category. And last thing that they estimate that Trump will reap billions with the crypto coins that he's put out. And my question is, what happened to President had to divest himself of his business? But now he's not only making money, but he's also printing his own currency. So what happened to that stipulation?
Well, what you're talking about is if a president owns or operates a business, he has to distance himself from it while he is serving as president.
Right.
And that's the divestiture. And Mr. Trump says that I think last time he said that his sons were running the business, and I assume that will be the arrangement this time, that his sons will be running the business. So, I mean, that's technically what will happen. Now, will the president continue to have any connection with running the business? I think we all know that he will, but he won't be the first he won't be the first president to do that.
Yeah, I predict right now. You can put this in the great book. This will be the richest president to ever leave office. I'm not speaking of what he came to the office with, but the richest to ever leave office.
Well, a lot of that's going to depend on that cryptocurrency you mentioned. That can go either way in a hurry. So we'll see how that one works out.
And had you heard anything about the Secret Service being overcharged at his hotels where they're required to stay?
According to public records, the Secret Service agents who accompany the president when he goes to play golf were charged. The records didn't indicate they were overcharged. According to the records, they were charged the top rate for the hotel rooms that they occupied at the golf resorts. They have there's a whole different rate structure. Some people get a lower rate for whatever reason, but the Secret Service always paid the top rate. So that's what's in the records.
Yeah. Okay, well, Ken, I enjoy your show, and we'll see. But I think it's going to be a lot of money-making ventures for the top. And so far, I haven't seen anything that would bring relief to the middle and lower class.
Well, thanks for calling.
Thank you for your time. Okay.
And phone line is open now. This email back here said, Ken, you're always talking about legal. You're talking about what's legal and not legal. We need to talk about what politicians actually do and how do we make them stop collecting money and getting rich off their offices. The way you do that is to elect somebody else. As I mentioned, it is the lawmakers make the laws. And it's crystal clear to anybody who pays attention. Lawmakers make laws that prohibit certain things, prohibit things that give the appearance of conflict of interest or undue influence. But they leave avenues. They always leave avenues so that they can, pick up a buck or two. It's not cheap to live in Washington, D.C., and when we pay a congressman a couple of $100,000 a year, hard to scrape by on that. So yes, the laws are designed to prevent and prohibit certain things, but they are also designed to allow the congressman, if that's what we're talking about, to profit from being in office. And the only way to make them stop doing that is to not elect them again. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Ken, it's Mark from Marion.
Hey, Mark.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Hope you are.
I am okay. I'm glad. Anyway, I want to say thank you to Charles McDaniel and Mr. Pelham for sending our condolences.
Well,
Or my grandpa, N.G. Washburn, passed away.
well, I'm glad that they remembered to mention that, Mark, and we're all thinking about you and your family.
Yeah, did Charles ever send you the obituary thing, the link?
I have not seen that.
Oh, okay. It's on the Wilkerson's Funeral Home website under N.G. Washburn Jr.
Okay.
The one in Reasonable, Wilkerson in Reasonable.
All right, I'll write that down. At Wilkerson Funeral on the Wilkerson's website.
Yes, it's on there now. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Ken.
Well, thanks for calling, Mark. And again, we'll all be saying a prayer for your family. Good night. Phone line is open. If you'd like to give us a call, you can email us at KECHOLS47. I think it is. It is 47 at gmail.com. Let's see. I'm not sure what this emailer is talking about. Ken, what was that? Email says, Ken, what was that you said? What would you said about in Raleigh? In Raleigh, what was that you said about in Raleigh? They are raising our homeowners insurance premiums. I heard some of that, but I didn't catch all of it. Well, it's not exactly in Raleigh that they're raising them. That's about the insurance consortium, the insurance association. I forget exactly the name of their group, but they asked the state for permission to increase homeowners insurance rates in North Carolina, and they asked for something on the order, depending on where you are in North Carolina, anywhere from a 50 to a 90% increase in homeowners insurance rates. And what we were talking about last night was the state insurance commissioner's office has now issued his ruling on that, and the actual increases will be, as they usually are, they'll be way much less than what the insurance companies initially asked for. For Rockingham County, the increases will be about 8.2%. Now, they're different in different parts of the state. Along the coast, it's more than that. Along the coast, some people will be paying 15, 18, close to 20% more. But for those of us around here, the allowed increase is going to be on the order of 8.2%. So that's what we were talking about last night when we were talking about homeowners insurance. I hope that clears up your question. Again, today they said new tariffs in February on Canada and Mexico, 25%. What do you think of that? What do I think of that? I think there'll be probably a lot, quite a bit of negotiating between now and February 1st before those 25% tariffs take effect. And I don't know. I wouldn't place a strong bet right now on exactly what will take effect on February 1st. I think the president has made that announcement probably as, I don't know. This is what I think. I think the president made that announcement probably as maybe a bargaining chip to start talking with Canada and Mexico and see what sort of changes or concessions or adjustments or changes can be made in trade arrangements amongst the three countries. And so his starting point is a 25% tariff starting on February 1st. But we'll see how that develops, and we'll see how it all comes out when February 1st gets here. Ken, what is going on? What is going on with that state Supreme Court thing in North Carolina where they want to throw out 60,000 votes? Did they ever get that settled? No, that is not yet settled. That's probably going to go to the state Supreme Court, most likely. I don't know where else it could go other than to the state Supreme Court. So that I expect is where it's going. And there won't be any more changes in that, I don't imagine, until the state Supreme Court hears it and rules on it. So not much else to say about that. This one says, let everybody know there will be special Valentine's Day dinners. Oh, here's something romantic. We can all use something romantic. And certainly, what could be more romantic than this? The emailer says there will be special Valentine's Day dinners for lovers at Waffle House. At Waffle House, with romantic touches, says the emailer. And there's a link here where apparently I can look up Waffle House and see. Oh well, yeah, here it is. A Waffle House is ready to serve up some romance for Valentine's Day. The restaurant will offer a special Valentine's Day dinner on February 14th at select locations. Not every Waffle House, only select Waffle Houses will be participating in this. And what do you get? You get a white tablecloth. You get a white tablecloth, candlelight, festive decorations. There will be a special Valentine's Day menu. Okay, where's the menu? Well, the menu is not in here. But we do know that at select Waffle Houses, you might check with your favorite Waffle House to see if they're participating. Valentine's Day dinner for you and your special one. White tablecloths, candlelight, and festive decorations. You know, and what's more romantic than jumping in the car and taking your loved one to Waffle House for a special Valentine's Day dinner? That sounds really good, don't you think? Really good. Ken, how come you cannot talk to Charles Rourke? Is he so high and mighty? Is Charles Rourke so high and mighty that one of his employees, such as yourself, cannot even have a personal conversation with him? What's that all about? Well, I think you stated it. I think you stated it perfectly well, emailer. He's so high and mighty that a common employee like me would have no hope of talking to Charles Rourke. It's just something that we might aspire to, but I can't do it. Can't do it. This emailer says, always enjoy your show. Thank you. I have a question. If a rioter in St. Louis or Baltimore were to be involved in the death of a police officer, would he or should he be pardoned as well? I still can't fathom that those that were in harm's way on January 6th could so quickly dismiss the actions of the perpetrators. Thanks. Well, thank you, emailer. That's a point of discussion that I've heard several people pursue, not just today, but over the past weeks and months when we've been talking about the possibility of pardoning the January 6th rioters. And I mean, I don't know how to answer it. I guess I can just answer the same as I've answered before. I'm not, as in principle, a big fan of presidential pardons, and I'm not a big fan of these particular pardons either. But there they are. We have about another 5 or 6 minutes to take your phone calls and your emails, and we'd love to hear from you either by phone or by email on this edition of Star Talk. Here's one. Here's one that says, "Ken, is mesh Wi-Fi?" Oh boy, well this is a different direction. Is mesh Wi-Fi really better than the regular kind, the regular kind of Wi-Fi that we've been using all these years? Somebody at Best Buy tried to sell me mesh Wi-Fi and said it was better. Do you know? Do you know what about that? Well, I've got mesh Wi-Fi in here now. In fact, I bought myself mesh Wi-Fi for Christmas. Oh, nobody buys me anything for Christmas, so I bought myself mesh Wi-Fi for Christmas. And I can tell you this: it is faster. Um, it is probably well on this computer here, that computer right over there, the one I'm looking at. Um, on my old Nighthawk router, um, I had internet speeds in here averaging, depending on, sometimes my internet provider has a good day and sometimes it has a bad day. But in general, I had speeds in here averaging anywhere from 90 to 120 mbps per second. Since I put the mesh in, it's averaging about twice that much, over 200 to around 250 mbps a second. Uh, so yeah, in my experience, a mesh system is faster. In my experience, uh, that's all I can answer. I can't answer for anybody else's experience, only for my own. It definitely has been faster. So for me, it was worth the money. It wasn't all that much money. A little more expensive, but not a whole lot. But it was worth it for me. Really was. Uh, and this one says, "Ken, I know you swear, I know you swear by the Old Farmer's Almanac when it comes to their weather predictions. But tell me this, did the Old Farmer's Almanac say that there would be snow in Florida this winter? I'll bet it didn't. What is your answer?" Uh, well, it didn't exactly say that. To tell you the truth, I did not ask. I did not look at the part. I didn't look at the part of the Old Farmer's Almanac where they predict the weather for Florida. I only looked at the part where they predict the weather for here, right here where I'm sitting, and the area that surrounds where I am sitting. That's all I looked at. And it said, and I've mentioned this before, it said that this winter would feature periods of very cold weather and periods when it wouldn't be quite so cold. And it said there would be periods when there would be precipitation and periods when there wouldn't be when there wouldn't be precipitation. And that's what it said. And so far, that has proven to be correct. Once again, exactly what the Old Farmer's Almanac said is precisely what has happened so far this winter, which is good enough for me. That's all the proof I need. Now, I don't know what the Old Farmer's Almanac said about northern Florida. I have no idea. Maybe I'll go find it later and see what it said. So I'm not absolutely certain that it didn't predict snow in Florida this weekend. So I'm not prepared to acknowledge that and to comment on it. Gonna have to look it up and see before I can have any more to say about that. And then we finally have this one. Do I have time to read? I got time to read this. Um, This one says, Ken, I think that you should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, no. I think you should be ashamed of yourself for discontinuing Monday night. Me? You should be ashamed of yourself for discontinuing Monday Night Live. Monday Night Live was my favorite television program of all. And now it's been off the air since last year. And you said that it would be back on the air, but you never put it back on the air. I think you owe an apology to me and to all viewers who enjoyed and liked Monday Night Live and its very, very high caliber. All right. Now it's getting weird. It's very, very high caliber and intelligent brand of humor that we all looked forward to every Monday night. I blame you. And I think you owe us all an apology. Why don't you fix the damage that you have done? Well, I didn't do any damage. I'm not the one. I'm not the one to blame for that. I would be perfectly prepared to do Monday Night Live starting next Monday night. I would be. So that's my position, and it's not my fault. I guess the person who is most visible is the person who gets the blame, and I am the most visible, so I get the blame. I didn't do it. And that's all the time we have for Star Talk tonight. We're on the air Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Hope you'll join us next time. Thanks for watching. I'm Ken Echols.